It's back to Italy and back to the Tifosi for F1 at Monza. A reprofiled circuit, we've got a new driver in the paddock, and we have all kinds of other different stories to talk about as we head into the weekend. And let's start off with that change at Williams. Franco Colapinto will be replacing Logan Sargent for the remainder of the season. Now, Colapinto has competed at multiple levels up the motorsport racing ladder. He had a quite prolific karting career, including winning at the 2018 Summer Youth Olympics, before making the step up to racing in 2018 with Spanish F4. He also did Euro Formula Open, Formula Renault Euro Cup. He had a podium in the Toyota Racing Series and the Formula Renault Euro Cup in 2020. A podium in Asia Le Mans Series in 2021, as well as a win of Spanish F4 in 2019. But you might have seen him more recently because he's been in F3 and F2 for the past couple of seasons, getting 4th place in F3, making a step up to F2 for the tail end of last season, before running 5th currently in F2 for MP Motorsport. And yeah, it's interesting to see the Williams have gone with a rookie. Supposedly, the main reason behind it was because Liam Lawson was only going to be able to be with them if Red Bull were able to yoink him out if one of their drivers gets injured, or if Helmut Marko decides it's time to sack Sergio Perez. But yeah, he's currently 6th in the standings, I believe. I think it might be... I'm seeing 5th. But at the same time, the standings themselves are showing 6th on Wikipedia. He's ahead of Kimi Antonelli is all you need to know. So that tells you... Well, and also Ollie Behrman, which tells you where he's at in terms of ability. And obviously Williams think that he's got a lot of potential. Otherwise, they wouldn't be putting a complete rookie who has driven in some FP1 sessions for Williams into the car. But that's not the only changes. Monza has been resurfaced this year ahead of the Italian Grand Prix. That's part of why the World Endurance Championship took their round to Imola for the 6 hours. Now, the reprofiling of the track is in part resurfacing, which means that we should see some changes. Now, there has been racing on the track since it's been resurfaced, but it might mean that the grip levels will be slightly different because it might be a slightly different tarmac. But the main thing that's happened has been reprofiling of different corners. So some of the curbs have been flattened out. Sausage curbs are being phased out to some degree. The biggest changes have been the flattening out at somewhere like Ascari and a large reprofiling of the Rettifilio, the first chicane. And what you find is that you can go a bit deeper into the corner and a bit wider going out of the corner as well. It's now designed so that you can more easily have multiple lanes of traffic. I believe it hasn't actually adjusted the racing line because the apexes of the two parts of the first chicane are still the same. But there is the ability to hopefully avoid another 2021 Max Verstappen decide to send it over a sausage curb onto Lewis Hamilton's W12. And before I get enough of an opportunity for the Orange Army to send me threats, let's talk about the schedule for the weekend, because we do have F3, F2 and Porsche Super Cup in support. For F1, there are some historic demonstrations as well, but the first free practice session will happen at 1:30 p.m. local time, before FP2 at 5 o'clock local time. Then on the Saturday, we have FP3 at 12:30 local, before qualifying at 4 p.m. And then we have the race itself starting at 3 p.m. local time. If you're a British viewer, that is 2 p.m. UK time on Sunday. And in terms of the forecast for the weekend, you can expect low chance of rain throughout the weekend. I think the local authorities are actually putting out a heat warning, because the maximum temperature for Friday is 34, for Saturday is 33, and for Sunday is 32. That means that we are going to see a very hot track, which could also have an effect on things such as tyre degradation, though Monza only having a handful of corners, not necessarily much of an issue. But there is going to be some light wind as well. The F1 are estimating a 20% chance of rain on race day, which is quite light, but it does mean that there is a potential for a little bit of water to hit the track in the middle of the park. Looking back to last season, and, well, we didn't have the same kind of slipstream fest mess as you can have in qualifying looking at you 2019, but it was still a bit hectic. This is something that you could expect at Monza. Expect to see cars trailing around and snaking around. Expect to hear arguments because, oh, they didn't give me the toe that they were meant to give me on that lap from someone or another. But anyways, last year it was Carlos Sainz Jr. who got pole, Max Verstappen second, Charles Leclerc third. But in the race, it was a Red Bull 1-2, with Verstappen leading home Sergio Perez by 6 seconds. Perez had qualified 5th at the time. Then Sainz had the last lap of the podium with Leclerc in 4th, and the Mercedes following home because they went 2x2x2 in 5th and 6th. Russell ahead of Hamilton. Alex Albon had gotten 7th, which might mean that Williams are going to keep an eye on what could happen with Colapinto's debut, especially because Nick De Vries in 2022 had his debut with Williams and managed to score points after Albon was ruled out of the race for appendicitis. But anyways, those are the main things to look at going into the event. Let me know your predictions and your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon for more. Bye for now.